Okay, welcome to RomingerRadio Part 3. And as I promised, we'll get my mom's piece on the air here. Love you, Mom. Here we go. Hey, Mom, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
What a beautiful afternoon here in Western New York.
So what's going on up there? Anything we need to know about or no?
No, not really. I don't think so. It's just beautiful weather and everybody's enjoying it.
Who is going to be the next governor of New York State? Is there any consensus on that yet amongst the people?
Well, because the Democrats have 2-to-1 registration versus Republicans, it looks like probably Cuomo will get it.
So
and remain as governor.
And I imagine that in your area of the state, there's still a little dissatisfaction with that, being the western end of the state.
More so, and there's more registered Republicans here, versus Democrats in the general area.
Well, we're gonna be talking tonight about a couple different topics on the show, so I want to hit you up with a few of them here. First of all, somebody told me the other day that dogs do not go to heaven, okay? And that's because they don't have souls. And therefore, if you're a good Christian, you know that your dog will not be greeting you at the pearly gates when you get there. What's your reaction to that statement? True, false, don't know?
I wish I knew what came afterwards. I'm getting closer to that time, and I just kind of wonder.
Well, I know you had a dog that you very much love, so I'm sure you would love to see him again.
I really think that all of us, including the animals, are with us in the afterlife, if there is an afterlife.
Now,
I just hope there is.
Somebody made the comment on my Facebook page that there's going to be a lot of deer giving me the stinky eye running around heaven, if you know what they mean.
Oh.
You know, the stinky eye.
Really.
The stinky eye, Mom, for you old people. You know, the stinky eye is when somebody gives you like the evil eye. Maybe we'll use that terminology for your generation.
The evil
they call it the stinky
eye
eye these days, but the evil eye.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I just sent him to paradise sooner. I don't know what's to complain about. So what else we're going to talk about? Oh, so Lois Lerner wrote all these emails to the White House and other people potentially targeting conservative Tea Party organizations. And now magically they've discovered that 2 years of her emails right dead in the middle of the hottest, most questionable part disappeared. Do you believe that they accidentally lost the hard drive and there's no big deal there, or do you smell something rotten in Denmark?
Well, I can hardly believe that they lost the information, because if they had lost information and they know that they need to retain any information that's on emails in any type of business or government entity, they would be looking for it other places. And I understand that they said that they threw away the hard drive.
Yeah, and there's two interesting... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I can't believe that. I can't believe that was done without some purpose to it.
Yeah, and there's two problems with that, because if her hard drive had crashed, okay, and they lost some emails, at the time her hard drive crashed, usually it doesn't really matter, because your emails are going to be on what they call probably a Microsoft Exchange server or something similar to that, where they can be repopulated automatically onto a new hard drive. So, for instance, if I take one of my work email addresses, install Outlook on a computer, and log into it through the Exchange server, I can end up with a local copy of all my files, because they're already all up there. Right. So if she did in fact immediately notify somebody, it's hard to believe that the immediate 6 months or longer of emails wouldn't have been instantly reconstructed at the time. But
right.
Go ahead.
No, most people don't throw their hard drives away when they know that they have things on it that need to be reconstructed, which they knew that at the time they threw them away. Yeah,
and of course they're saying, some lab tech said it couldn't be done, but as I understand it, basically, if the hard drives, unless the hard drive's literally been, absolutely destroyed physically, with a little bit of time and effort, emails can be retained. Now, Wall Street Journal had a very interesting article, and now it's coming out that not only was the Senate not being told, the Senate almost closed their investigation. And then at the very last minute, they discovered, when the IRS commissioner was asked to certify that they had everything, that, technically we didn't give you everything, and he'd already said they would, and just sort of left out that they didn't know these emails were missing. But the more interesting aspect of it is, it turns out the White House and other senior executives in the administration were notified and briefed on this 2 months before it was revealed to Congress, meaning that they've had 2 months to go back and, obfuscate anything that they might have had that would have shown up by basically saying, hey, guys, we don't have copies of this stuff anymore. So if you have copies, it might be in all of our Now, that's me speculating, right? But it just seems odd that the White House and other people will get a 2-month heads up and Congress wouldn't be told during an active investigation. Unless, of course, that was the purpose, to allow them time to bury these things. But
I have no idea what actually went on, but it certainly is something to look into.
One of the other things we're going to talk about tonight is, of course, my good friend Barack Obama and his current crisis brewing in Iraq, and the idea that people are now complaining, well, it's Obama's fault for pulling the troops out. But to be fair, Obama simply followed the schedule as negotiated and signed by President Bush. So it's not really a linear question, although those things are routinely lengthened. On the other hand, I think we were pretty war-weary at the time. So I'm not sure Obama deserves 100% of the blame for us being out of Iraq and the thing falling apart. But we're gonna talk about that. Have you been following that at all?
A little bit, and I agree with you that it seems to be that the protocol was followed as they went along with this thing, and you don't call foul when you've already followed that protocol in the past.
Yeah,
and it's an accepted thing. So that's kind of
the real
you just kind of wonder.
The real problem is, and it's just a typical example of, we went over there and spent $1 trillion and 4,000 lives or whatever the exact totals were, and with the idea that we're going to reshape the societies. And I don't know how many times Russia, the United States, various European colonial powers have to go over to other areas of the world to discover that we can't just draw borders, put some people in power, and then assume that's like a wind-up bird and it's just going to walk in the direction. We're one of the only nations in the world where the military truly responds to the civilian authority, absolutely. And so even though, people will say, oh, I hate Barack Obama or Bill Clinton was a leftist, we still all accepted, and the military accepted, that they're the commander-in-chief. In a lot of other countries, there's a much less comfortable relationship between the civilian authorities and the military authorities in the sense of the true chain of command. And that's just a very American ideal. Our generals and our colonels and the men and women of our military simply believe they respond to the civilian authority. But if they woke up tomorrow and decided they owed no loyalty to the civilian authority, but some other notion of nation or patriotism, they've got all the guns and all the power. But it doesn't happen here like it happened in Egypt, for instance, or the military coups we've seen, I think, in Thailand recently and other places, because our military truly believes this secular ideal of a civilian-commanded military as part of a constitutional principle. But again, that's just a very unique American ideal that you don't see everywhere.
True, and I think it's a very good one. But
yeah, exactly.
You're right. It just doesn't. It doesn't fall in with what other people from other places in this world, how they think and how they process their thoughts.
It doesn't come from anywhere per se. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, in a theocracy, if the military is very religious and the powers become very secular, the military, of course, is going to try to restore the theocracy. Because that makes the most sense in those structures. Here, our military sort of says, our role is different. It's just an accepted norm. No, it's not original American thought. The Romans prohibited, despite the fear of a founding fathers, really would probably be surprised to see that we have a standing military if they were back today.
Mm-hmm. They depended on volunteers from the communities.
Yeah, the militias.
The militias. Yeah,
the militias, which is kind of interesting, because that also seems to come from an old fiefel kind of system in a way. Rounding up the guys in charge of the local towns and having them bring their regulars along and all that sort of thing. Really is almost feudal in a way. So you could see how we were moving from having a king and a feudal system into a true. We're sort of the next bloom of democracy after the British started to experiment with it. I don't want to keep you too long. How's your garden going, by the way?
My garden is going beautifully, except that I went around the corner this morning and saw a tiny baby woodchuck, which means the woodchuck had babies half a block down from me, and I'm afraid they're going to make it to my garden. But the garden's going really well right now, and the heirloom tomatoes, I planted them, and they seem to be thriving.
Very good.
So, yeah, and I have all kinds of blossoms and things, but if the woodchucks get at it, it's going to get decimated, is what the problem is.
Yeah, well, they can do that in short order.
I know, and I hope somebody catches them before that. I mean, we've got other gardens out there sitting there in line between them and me. So we'll see. But the garden looks good right now, and I'm happy with it. It really turned into a nice-looking garden. So if we get something from it, all well and good, and if we don't, I'm going to be after the woodchucks.
All right, Mother, I appreciate you, letting us talk to you here today. And I'll be in touch. Yep. Tell everyone I said hello, love the family, et cetera, et cetera. And I guess my nephew turned, 19, right?
He did yesterday. Yep.
Yes.
And, yes, he did. Are you gonna hang up?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go.
All right. Okay. I thought maybe we.
All right. Well,
okay.
I'm gonna let you go. Hold on. Talk to you later. Thanks for listening to Rominger Radio. We're on every Sunday from 6 to 9 p.m. and every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Go to KarlRominger.com, KarlRominger.com for more details.